Right, first of all, thank you to Somerset Council and thank you all for attending. We're going to be together for about 2 hours, if that's all right. Hopefully that fits everybody's timescales. And I've broken it down sort of into 2 sessions with a break in between. There are some activities that you guys will be asked to complete. And I think there's probably, in terms of sort of like vision and sort of strategy, that's a lot to get covered within 2.5 hours. Most of you, I think, have some form of vision when the responses came back in again. But vision and strategy is quite a lot to cover within 2.5 hours. So it will be quite PC. But we'll get through sort of as much as we can in the time that we've actually got. So just before we start, my name is Karen Watkins. The company is Rowan Consulting. And I'm an operational coach or an organisational coach and HR specialist, expert. Not quite sure what to sort of what to call that. But I've just spent the last sort of like 10, 12 years helping sort of SME businesses with growth and change within their business, probably from inception to about 250 employees. So some have gone through periods of sort of rapid growth, others more sort of manageable, controlled growth. Previously, I've had sort of a corporate life within sort of marketing and support with operational sites, including things like Fiat and Alfa Romeo, Sainsbury's Orderline. So big sort of organisations. Got quite frustrated and tired with the corporate life. So about 10, 12 years ago, I decided to set up my business, and I'll share some of that journey with you as we go through. But basically sort of building engaging teams and setting sort of strategy and goal. Now, the difference between some of you will have an understanding of business coaches. We're not business coaches. We are, like I said, organizational coaches. So we work on business vision and strategy through delivery through people. So whereas business coaches will concentrate on finance and the bottom line, we also do that, but we do it in conjunction with 3 other streams as well. And I'll share those 3 other streams with you. So we have a slightly different approach from a business coach on how to do it. We go away probably more from the pounds and pence and bottom line, and we come at it from an operational excellence, customer and people function as well. Slightly more sort of rounded approach in terms of the way in which we deliver it from the strategy. So it might be something that you've seen before, might not be, but we'll go with it and we'll see sort of how comfortable it is. Just a few notes in terms of sort of rules of engagement then. There are lots of different sectors in here, and I am actually really interested. I was just taking some notes while you're writing that. I'm really interested in the alcohol side. So Adam, we've met in a previous life. Didn't even know you did that. Why did I not know that?
You will soon.
Yeah. Dog pet supplies, also very interested in that side. I do have Mabel in the office with me today. You may very well see her jump into my seat later. So yeah, dog supplies, very interested in. Barbecue and hot smokers, I'm very interested to hear about that. That sounds very good. I'm always really surprised in terms of the type of businesses in Somerset. It never ceases to amaze me in 12 years how many cool businesses there are within this area. It's just it amazes me, but also makes it very interesting in terms of working. So we do have lots of different sectors in here, which is great. But obviously the caveat for that is some of this will be quite generic, okay? And I'm pretty sure that you'll experience that over the next sort of 6 months. So I think it's probably about taking stuff which actually works for you. We'll try and make it as relevant as possible, but it's more about taking, stuff that actually works. I think probably in my 12 years in terms of a business journey, it's about taking some of the stuff that you have. You not very often come away from a whole group and say, I've got 100% of that, I'm going to use 100%. So it's about taking snippets that actually work for you. My business has changed 3 times in 12 years. Originally, it was set up as when my family was very, very young, and it was very much a lifestyle type business. It's sort of gone through 2 further iterations, and my children are now at a point where I was going to say they're not dependent upon me, but university fees, I think, still prove that they are dependent upon me. So my lifestyle has changed, and also financial commitments have changed. So I've gone through 3 iterations of my business. And that, I think, is something, those of you who've been in different forms of business, Clive, I think you said you've got a previous sort of form of business. Those having gone through those journeys is obviously sort of part of what we do. So it will be generic. We will try and make it more specific as we go through. But obviously things in terms of from challenges you've all got around destination and where you're going and the focus. My one piece of advice is that it is a journey, and obviously to enjoy that journey as you do it. Second thing is around audience participation. We are quite sort of interactive. I talk, you talk, we share ideas. So I will ask you to come off mute and share some of those ideas as we go through. I think it's probably, we can sort of say how we think things will happen and how, what that journey might look like. But you guys are going to be together for an entire 6 months on your journey, and being able to share and learn from one another. I know it's helped in my, in my life cycle. And I'm pretty sure it will help in yours. So the interactive side in terms of what we'll do will get you sort of talking and doing stuff as well. So first exercise I'd like you to do, can you take, for those of you who are old-fashioned pen and paper, or if you're not, something on a screen, can you take a piece of paper and can you divide it in two for me? Everyone's now going, do I divide it down the middle? Do I go horizontally? Do I go vertically? I don't care how you do it. Just one piece of paper, divide it down the middle or across the middle. And on one side, I would like you to write commitment. And on the next side, I'd like you to write takeaway. And as we go through sort of the two separate sections, what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to do one takeaway, or one commitment and one takeaway. Okay, and I will ask you to sort of share those. The principle behind that is if we write down and we commit to it, we're more likely to be able to produce it. So as I said, our sessions are interactive. They're interactive, but they also go away with somebody with a piece of paper that says, right, okay, this is what I've actually committed to. If we commit to it, we write it down, we're more likely to do it. Not 100% of the time, but we're more likely to do it. So that's the first one. First, let's have a little check, see whether these screens actually work. It's gone to sleep now. Okay, is that changing on your side? Can you see the agenda just come up? Cool. Okay, so just over 2 hours. There's two things we're really going to do. So the next sort of 40 minutes or so, we're going to have a look at something called the North Star and the Hedgehog. Has anybody come across the North Star formula before? No? Okay, so that is the document which has been shared. Can everybody see that document now or not? It's a blue document and it's marked owner intent at the top. Can I have a show of hands? Brilliant. Thanks, Kieran. Can everybody else see it? I can't see. Lucy, are you all right? Can you see? Can you see? No, you can't see it. Okay, I'll share my screen. If we can't, just come off of mute and shout if you can't, if you can't see it. So we're going to go through the North Star and the Hedgehog. The purpose of the North Star and Hedgehog is basically for you to come away with your compass, your values, and your statement. Okay, so it's an activity that you'll do collectively, but obviously individually as well. We're then going to have a 15-minute leg stretch where we can go get a cup of coffee and do whatever we need to do. And then we're going to have a look at the strategy work and our 4 core pillars afterwards. I've left about 15 minutes at the end for a Q&A, just in terms of not necessarily Q&A with me because I might not know the answer, but it might be a Q&A between all of you guys, in terms of sort of what your journey is like and what support you might need. So does that work for everybody? Cool. Lots of nodding. Nodding and hands is always a good thing. Right. Okay. So this is the document that we are talking about then. Now, in terms of business vision, I could give you a very stark screen which says about vision, mission, vision, and values. Most of you, I would guess, not being sort of ageist, because I am a lady of a certain age, most of us know what mission, vision, and values is. The way in which Rowan looks at it when we're working with sort of business owners is we look at it from a business vision North Star perspective. Every iteration of your business there will come a point at various different points, of your journey where there will be a distraction. Something will happen in terms of, finances or people or operational excellence. At some point, your business will go off kilter. The purpose of the North Star is your compass. It is the point that actually allows you to hook back in and anchor back into something. So instead of having a mission statement, which I'm pretty sure, quick show of hands, do most of you have a mission or vision statement? I think according to the questionnaire, most of you did. So quick show of hands. Kieran's got one. Yeah, yeah. Ish, Neil. Lucy, was that a thumbs up from you, Lucy, or ish? Okay, well, I think like I said, I've had 3 mission statements through my 12 years. So that should give you an idea that actually when I started, I went in full guns blazing going, I have a mission statement and I know what my mission is. But actually my mission then was very, very different because I was in a family business, not family business, because I was in a business that was a lifestyle business linked to where my family were in terms of their age and what we were doing. My mission was really, really different then to what it is now. And I think that's one thing we need to identify is that we can have a mission, but actually it's more about a North Star that holds us and keeps us as a compass in which direction, destination we're heading for. So as it says, when you have a clear intention for yourself and your business, it creates a condition of absolute clarity. It is intrinsically linked to your success, because if you go off track, it's the one that when you go, what the hell am I doing? It allows you to be able to come back and it allows you to be able to fix back into where you're going. So it gives you an instant reason for engaging in an activity. It allows you to even be able to say, is this a good piece of business for me? Or am I becoming distracted by something? Because it's really easy for us to chase business that sometimes we think is right. Whereas when we have our North Star, we can actually, and we're going to do an exercise called the hedgehog, which allows you to be able to make those decisions. So it's about saying, if I get stuck or if I get lost, where am I going? And it brings you back. And it also gives you your values and the almost the permission to be able to say what, like yes and no to business that you want to be able to do. So it gives you a measure and condition of what's important to both you and the business, and it gives you your message and your team its purpose. Ooh. So in terms of the purpose, do any of you currently have members of staff, or is it part of your growth plan? Nope. Kieran, you do? You don't. Okay. All right. So when we talk about message, we're talking about, like I said, the message is your compass. When you come to build the team, when we're talking about sort of like the taking on of your first employee, all of those types of things, there is something really critical about your North Star becoming their purpose. When people join businesses, they join for a reason. And it's important that we get that nailed down so that when you do start hiring individuals, you will have a direction that they can go in. Clive is having internet problems. Okay. Remind me not to shout Clive then, because he might not be with us. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this document then. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to stop and I'm going to share another screen. So chat amongst yourselves a minute.
Kieran, have you looked at Landshare?
Sorry, say that again.
Have you looked at Landshare?
I have. That was the one that was Hugh Thurnley, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a guy. Is that what you're proposing?
In a way, it's
but better.
That succeeds.
Yes.
yes, but it's that's in a way why I'm here, because I started out with a very clear north and rules. Engaging with the enemy is just I'm having to have a little bit of a rethink. But yeah, basically, I mean, I've built a platform that enables people to list a bit of land,
yeah,
and for people to then join and connect with them to then arrange a share for themselves. So it's a bit like I've built Facebook and eBay.
Interesting.
While having long COVID, not to pat myself on my own back.
Good God. I just oh, sorry. Oh.
No, you're all right. I just might have known it was you that was going to start a different conversation.
Troubling.
I tried to bring it back to the North Star. I did actually try.
You did. I liked it. And the fact that you always get distracted, or the fact that people get distracted. I'm with you 100%. Right, what can you see on your screen right now? Can you see the owner intent and North Star document?
Yes.
Ah, amazing. I'm so impressed at my technical prowess. I'm amazingly good with people, particularly rubbish with IT. Okay, so when they gave me I was pitching for the in-person events. Oh, Clive, hold on. Do I admit or do I not? Yeah, pitching for the hold on, let's let him in. See what I mean? I can only focus on one thing at one time. I'm not sure whether that's because I'm a lady of a certain age or whether that's the fact that my IT prowess is not great. Right, so you can see on your screen, you can see the owner intent and North Star document, yeah? Okay, cool. Right, so we are now going to spend a couple of minutes just going through these questions, okay? And when I say going through these questions, I want you to suspend disbelief for the purposes of this exercise, okay? I don't want you to think in the very traditional way. You're right there, Steve, you turned sideways for a minute then. So when I ask you to do this, I'm asking you, like I said, to suspend disbelief. I'm asking you to think big. I'm asking you to think about, if I asked you where your business was going to be in 5 years' time, if you threw that forward, I want you to think about where it will be at that point. I don't want you to think small. I want you to think wider and broader. Okay. And again, this isn't just about the financial aspect. So when you're answering these questions, it's around financial, emotional, personal, physical, all of the elements that come into it. Because fundamentally, when you start the business and when you're on that business journey, it's hard work. I have to be careful not to swear. It's hard work. And as part of that exercise, when there comes a point where the business is really hard, you have to have a point where you go, why the hell am I here? What am I doing this for? And what is my purpose? So when we go through, I'm just going to challenge you to think slightly differently about what it is that you're looking for from a financial perspective. It's going to be an element of honesty I'm going to ask you to put in here. And if it's a case that in 5 years' time, you are saying, I want to sell my, or earlier, I want to sell my business and I want to exit and I want to go and sit on a beach and drink Mai Tais. That's what we need to be able to say. That is your overall destination. It's not about the small stuff right now. It's about, right, throw it forward and tell me what 5 years looks like. Because I can tell you exactly what 5 years looks like in my business. I can tell you what financial point we'll be at. I can tell you where my children will be, because they will not be financially dependent upon me at that point because they would have finished university. So all of those things are already mapped into my strategy. It's not just about my business. My business is here to deliver to customers, but it is also to deliver a lifestyle that I then want for my, for my business or from myself. So let's run through these questions. Let's get a bit of conversation going. Okay. So some of these I asked you on the questionnaire. Quick show of hands. Who managed to complete the questionnaire prior to this session? Neil, Steve, Dan, Lucy, yeah, Joe. A couple of them, I must admit, when you were talking about your businesses, I did actually try and relate them back to sort of some of the questions that we're asking. So some of these you would have started to think about. Now I'm going to ask you to expand on them. So first question, what do you want your business to do for you? Okay. And we're not talking about, there is very much a fluffy element to this in terms of what you want your business to do, but I'm asking you for raw stuff now. Okay. What is it that you want your business to do for you? Is it lifestyle? Is it financial? Is it that you want to, like I said, mine has been built around sort of like, family and growth of family. But what is it you want your business to do for you? Okay, just have a couple of minutes thinking about that. Jot some ideas down. Literally let everything out. You don't have to share any of this. It's more for you to get it down on paper. So what do you want your business to do for you? Okay, everybody got something down? Okay, so the second part of that question is, what are the desires or goals that it will allow you to fulfill? Now, there may be something around, forgive me, one of you was talking around working with, is it young children? Lucy, you were talking about, so Joe and Lucy, you know, there probably will be something in here in terms of desires and goals about, there is something very, from a passionate perspective, about what you deliver. So when I'm talking about desires and goals for you, what will they allow you to be able to fulfill or achieve? For the others of you, it may be something like holidays abroad, a boat, a car. What are the other things that tend to come up? Somebody wanted a horse before. So what are the types of things? I know, right? Random. But her lifestyle was such that she actually wanted time. She had spent a lot of time in business doing stuff, and she actually wanted a work-life balance that allowed her to be able to do what she did when she was younger. So hers was a horse and all of the trappings that come with owning horses. So what desires and goals will it allow you to fulfill? Think personally and financially. Okay, alrighty. So now we're going to drill down those into a little bit more. So the next one that we're going to have a look at is going to be around drilling down on this compass. Okay, so the next question is how does owning or being in your business serve you? So the easiest way to answer that is, why the hell am I here? Neil, I want to ask you why you're here, because you were laughing and I want to know I want to know why the hell you're here. Feel free to come off of my mic, by the way. What'd you say?
I've just put Adam. It's his fault.
What, you mean you're blaming Adam for being where you are? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I kept offering to help out his other business, and then he said, "Oh, you can be 50% holder in this one." I was like, "Oh yeah, okay."
And it seemed like such a good idea.
Was that agreed over a drink?
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
not just one, Joe. I don't think it was
Yeah,
post lockdowns, so it was making the most of the social activities that you can.
Did you sign a contract on a napkin?
Contract? What's that?
Yeah.
Verbal spit and handshake, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
So yeah, so how does owning and being in the business serve you, or AKA why the hell am I here? So have most people got something down for that? Are they happy to, apart from sort of, you know, from Neil and Adam's perspective, anybody else want to share their why are you here?
I've got something else as well. It's not
Have
just
you?
Adam. Yeah.
Oh.
It's not all about me then. Fine.
It's your wife or Adam's wife.
Be a bit weird if it was Adam's, wouldn't it?
So Neil, what's your other reason as to why you're here?
Something you've just said actually just kind of hit home, and has been a focus of mine in the last couple of weeks actually, around the kind of corporate lifestyle. So it's that kind of I work for civil service at the moment in my day job, and just all of the red tape and what I call politics. It just does my head in over time, and you know, kind of mentally you're kind of like that. It's a roller coaster on a day-to-day basis. So being my own boss and being able to move the company in the direction that I feels right, and be able to be agile enough to do things that we think are right, if that makes sense, rather than having to jump through somebody else's hoops, or doing something because their targets depend on it and their bonus depends on it and whatever. But yeah, so there's that as well. It's not just Adam's fault.
Yeah. Yeah. But there is a very personal thing to that. I think most people who go into business go into it because they are frustrated with something. They're either frustrated with their previous life, or they're frustrated with something which is, you know, the way in which somebody's done things, or, you know, a solution that somebody's provided that you go, oh, why has nobody fixed that problem? You know, that's where that entrepreneurial brain tends to come in from.
Yeah, and also, you know, I've been in civil service for 15 years. So when I joined, it was a very different beast to now.
Yeah.
You know, it was a little bit more job for life when I joined, less so now, because the government's kind of done what the government's done, and it's not that way anymore. You know, yes, there's benefits to it, but there's you know, you can earn a lot more money in the private sector than you can in the civil service. So yeah.
Yeah, can't promise it's not going to be an easy, less bumpy ride though. Anyone else want to give us an idea of why the hell are you here?
I can add on to Neil's. Well, go on.
Sorry, no, you go.
I was just going to say, I'm going to add on top of Neil's, which is probably even for a shock. I actually want to make myself unemployed. I want to set something up that will run by itself, that will free me up to allow me to do research and then apply that research into things. So to give myself the freedom. Well, sorry, Kieran.
I was exactly the same as that, actually. It's this sort of, sorry to jump in, Kieran, but both of those two are sort of prevalent for me, because teaching in schools, it comes inherently with a lot of sort of trappings of pleasing everybody else, like the senior leaders, Ofsted, all that type of stuff, and which is a real pain. You hear it on the news probably every couple of months, and that's always a pain in the ass. And then you think, oh, actually, look at all this other stuff schools do. And so that's what I'm trying to help schools to try and do, is capture all this other information about taking children to educational trips to places like at Bristol or the Natural History Museum in London. They do all these amazing things, but it's not really that important, apparently, for these children to grow up. So that data which we're collecting helps to justify doing more of that. And then at the same time, so that's what my application does, and it helps schools to have that data. But then very similar to the last speaker is that, well, I'd like to make myself sort of free up loads of time, because I know teachers are very lucky they get all the holidays, but I've created hopefully a successful sort of a subscription service which will free me up to do. I have a personal interest in mountaineering, so I'd love to be able to go off and do more of that when the business is almost self-sufficient, and I can dip in and continue to run it if and when, as much as I need to, or possibly if it becomes successful enough in the future, then possibly an exit and sell it and get rid of it. But who knows?
Yeah. Okie dokie.
Sorry, I'll step back now.
No, that's great. Kieran, did you?
It's more of the same, really. It sounds like a theme, but yeah, I've gone through several iterations of loving a job, hating the boss mainly, and the last couple of jobs were for small business owners, and as lovely as they are down the pub before you join the company, they then turn into, you know, I almost think maybe they have to be little tyrants to get to where they've got in some cases. But yeah, just running my own calendar, having longer holidays, just having that a bit of freedom, as well as build, you know, and on another level, I am hoping to help people. So it'd just be nice not to be looking at dollars and quarterly targets and all that rest of it, and actually just feeling like I've done some good in the last couple of years, or the next couple of years, in 5 years.
Okie doke. Steve, Lucy, Dan, Clive, anything you'd like to add?
I think I'd like to mirror what's already been said, to be honest with you. I'd like the freedom so that we can set a business up that'll almost run itself. And yeah, I've had a few